Today we're going to look at different species of Crataegus or hawthorn. So it's probably best to start with the common hawthorn, Crataegus monogyna, which is native to all parts of the British Isles and grows in nearly every hedgerow. It's also native to much of Europe and into Central Asia, and other names for hawthorn are quickthorn or May. Its wonderful scented flowers in May are spectacular, but so are the haws or fruits which you see in autumn. And if we look down this hedgerow, you can see quite a variation in colour of some of the berries. Some are more mature than others, but the whole hedgerow is waiting for the thrushes and winter birds to come and gobble up these fruits. But Crataegus monogyna is one of about 40 species of Crataegus which exist in the world. A large number of species come from North America, and some of the most impressive ones, but Crataegus are native to Asia and on into China as well, and up into Russia and Manchuria. The problem with naming Crataegus is that the only published book on the subject of Crataegus species was republished in 2003, but was actually written in 1934. Combined with that, the International Dendrology Society and Trees and Shrubs Online has not yet been updated, so there is a little bit of confusion between different species. Quickly today we're going to go and look at a few of the best ones. Some species of hawthorn are grown for their flowers, and those are mainly forms of Crataegus laevigata. But here we've got a species from North America which is said to have the very largest fruits of any of the hawthorn species, and this is durobrivensis. Quite a mouthful, I have to say, but just look at how these large seed clusters stand out. It's said that in the wild this plant has very good yellow autumn colour, but actually in Cornwall it hasn't yet done that. But along the way it proves it's a Crataegus when you see a large great thorn like that poking out from it, and when you look carefully the thorns are really quite pronounced. Not all species of Crataegus have nasty thorns, but most of them do. So let's quickly look at another few different species. Here's another American species with really quite large haws or fruits, but very different leaf formation. And when we look closely, just a very few thorns here and there, not really very many, but quite a good crop of fruits on a tree that's only been in the ground about 5 years. Here we've got Crataegus calpodendron, which has scarlet pear-shaped fruits and quite a lot of prickles. But here you do actually see some rather attractive mixed colours for autumn appearing in the leaves. Crataegus phaenopyrum, that starts with a PH, with rather smaller fruits known as the Washington thorn, and leaves which don't really look very Crataegus-like, but the fruits certainly do. Something totally different is a black-fruited hawthorn from Japan and northern China. This is Crataegus chlorosarca, and plenty of clusters of black berries, no great leaf colour, and even when we look quite carefully, not too many signs of any thorns. Crataegus pennsylvanicum Guess where that one comes from? Again, very large reddish orange fruits, which probably will get a little bit redder before they start to drop. Very nasty prickles on this one. So this is Crataegus cambyi, properly known as Crataegus crus-galli, the cockspur thorn. And here you see another key feature of these Crataegus, where all the leaf has already dropped, but the fruits are still holding firm on the plant. This is not a terribly vigorous or tall growing species, but one of the most popular and probably widely grown of any of those we've seen so far. So here is perhaps a rather better example of Crataegus crus-galli or cambyi, absolutely plastered in fruits and looking rather splendid on an early October day. By way of contrast, Crataegus aprica, which comes from Florida and goes on up through the US to the Appalachians, is clearly not even faintly ripe. The leaf is still on the tree. The berries are just starting to go orange, but a tremendous crop throwing up here, rather taller, more vigorous growing species. Some of you may be wondering how many of these species of Crataegus Burncoose nurseries can so far supply, and the answer is not very many as yet. We have 12 or 13 different species and varieties of Crataegus in the Burncoose catalogue, but we've found that these young trees are only just now starting to produce viable fruit, and each one of these hips contains several seeds, different numbers of seeds within this fruit for different species. But before long we are propagating a number of the best of these species, and before long the catalogue will have them in it. And we're just going to, on the way home, look at one other species which is looking absolutely wonderful. This is Crataegus laevigata Gireoudii, and although you can't see it now, it has in immaturity pink and white mottled new growth. But the crowning glory of Gireoudii is this amazing display of haws or fruits which absolutely cover this small bush. In fact, it was top grafted originally, so it probably would have been a tree, but as a top grafted plant it simply formed a cascade of berries. And there's one more species which I can't show you berries of, but which Burncoose does stock, and that's Crataegus grignonensis, which is another semi-native hawthorn to the UK and one of the best berriers. And I'll leave you at the end of this article with a picture which I took at Benithan of the haws looking particularly nice on that species, which is actually a cross between the common hawthorn Crataegus monogyna and Crataegus mexicana.